Hola a todos, ¿cómo están? Yo soy señor Eduardo, yo soy el profesor de español para niños. Estoy muy feliz de que tú estás aquí conmigo. Bienvenido, welcome. Bueno, hello everybody. I'm super excited that you guys are here for another week of Spanish for Children, hosted by me, señor Eduardo. I'm the director of Rolla Languages. We're a language school located in Cambridge and been doing this now for 19 weeks. So I'm super excited that you guys are here with us learning a language, a new language. Okay, so let's jump right in. So last week we had some new vocabulary. And do you remember what it was? Okay, that's right. It was sports. And do you remember how you say sports in Spanish? Deportes. Not desportes or sports. Desportes. Desportes means sports. Okay, deportes. Now, I've been trying to put some things for you guys together. And before we do it, let's start with deportes as a warm-up, and then we're going to go back and actually review some other words that we've been learning so that you can review. When you're learning a language for the first time, you can't forget any words because you might need them at some point, right? So sometimes when we study for a test and we forget about it. In Spanish, everything kind of builds up on top of each other. And I want you guys all to remember all of these words because they're useful words that you can use forever. Muy bien. So, vamos a comenzar to begin with deportes. Okay, here we go. Dos veces. This first part of this class, we're going to repeat out loud a lot because we're going to go over all of the lists that you've seen so far. Repita, por favor. Fútbol. Fútbol. Baloncesto. Baloncesto, voleibol, voleibol, tenis, tenis, natación, natación, bicicleta, bicicleta, navegar, navegar, and baile, baile. Okay, so everybody, we're using the children's Spanish curriculum that we have at Rolla. So this is a document that I'm using here that I share with you all. If anybody wants it, actually, parents, send us an email at info@rollalanguages.com, info@rollalanguages.com, and we can actually get you guys a copy. I was just thinking about that today. Okay, muy bien. So family, familia, familia. Repita, por favor. Madre, madre, padre, padre, hermano, hermano, hermana, hermana, abuelo, abuelo, abuela, abuela, tío, tío, tía, tía, primo, primo, and then a female cousin is prima, prima. Okay, guys, repeat out loud. Talk to your screen. Say things out loud. Let's keep going. Ropa, the clothes. Let's do this. Camisa, camisa. Pantalón, pantalón. Vestido, vestido. Falda, falda. Abrigo, abrigo. Sombrero, sombrero. Bolsa, bolsa. Pantalón corto, pantalón corto. And lastly, zapatos, zapatos. Okay, we have 4 words here, las estaciones. On the left side, repeat after me. You should remember this. Verano, verano. Otoño, otoño. Invierno, invierno. And and then primavera. Primavera. Okay, now we have some important words here. Telling the time. El tiempo. El tiempo. Let's just do these three and then these three here. Okay, so we have mañana, the morning. Mañana, ña, 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 mañana. Tarde, afternoon. Tarde. Noche, noche. Let's skip down here to yesterday. Ayer, ayer. Hoy, hoy. And mañana, mañana. Okay, let's do one more list to review. Let's see. You have some food here. Wow, this is a long list. You have frutas, vegetales, and carne, and meat, and colors. We're going to actually say that for the next class because you guys have done a lot. So now that's a little bit boring, right? Don't worry. I get it. No hard feelings. What I want you guys to do is play little games and try to make sentences and put these all together. I asked you a couple of times to make flashcards. And then in the last class, we focused on spelling the words, asking some questions like ¿Cómo se dice? How do you say these words in English and Spanish? And then putting these words using a couple of verbs that you know so that you can practice with the vocabulary, putting it together. So the last exercise I had given to you all was to practice with the sentence here structure with the verb practicar, to practice. And I said, start off a sentence by saying, Yo practico. I practice football, baloncesto, volleyball. Another word you can use is to play is jugar, yo juego. But let's say, assume you're going to practice these at school, right? For sports, for school sports. So I'm going to give you a sentence. Yo voy a darles una frase en inglés y ustedes van a ponerlo junto usando yo practico y deportes, el vocabulario de deportes. So, for example, I practice the bike or biking, but we can say the bike, just to be simple. Muy bien. Yo practico la bicicleta or bicicleta. I practice tennis. Yo practico tenis. Yo practico tenis. Okay, I practice soccer. Yo practico fútbol. Soccer, fútbol. Okay, I practice basketball. Yo practico baloncesto. Baloncesto. I practice swimming. Long word, but it's an easy word. Yo practico natación. Natación. And last one, I practice dance. Okay. Yo practico baile. Yo practico, verb below, yo practico baile. Okay, so let's say these one last time very quickly. You try to keep up with me now, okay? Muy bien. Fútbol, baloncesto, voleibol, tenis, natación, bicicleta, navegar or surfear, surf, y baile, the dance, baile. Okay, so in chapter 10, we have a review and then another story because we're going to move on to new vocabulary. But let's focus on the review here first. So I'm going to read it in Spanish. ¿Cuáles deportes juegan tú y tu familia? ¿Cuáles deportes juegan tú y tu familia? What sports do you and your family play? So the verb here is jugar. Repeat after me. jugar, to play. Okay, so which one of these you play? I said earlier that you can use the verb play. And let me type it here for you and put it in a banner. So the verb is jugar, yo juego. So we're going to actually practice with that in a second before we move on. So let's say you, tú, do you play? Now, just practice with saying one of these. Good job. Buen trabajo. So for me, for example, I would say natación, bicicleta, and baile. I dance in my house. Madre, what sports does madre play? Madre plays tennis, maybe, or bicicleta. Padre, father, what does he play? Padre. Okay, maybe football. My dad's too old to play football. Okay, and then hermano o hermana. Muy bien. So you can choose what hermano, your brother, or hermana, your sister, what they play. Muy bien. So let's keep the verb jugar and yo juego, okay, with these. So I want you to come up with 3 sentences using yo juego, yo juego, yo juego. And then after that, I play, and then pick one of these verbs. Go. Now. Muy bien. Okay, so yo juego fútbol, for example. Yo juego tenis, for example. And yo juego natación, or yo hago natación, but let's use the word to play to make practice the sentences. So now you can use the deportes with yo practico, I practice, and yo juego, I play. So for those of you who have pen and paper at home, an exercise that I would suggest you do is you write yo practico fútbol, yo practico baloncesto, yo practico voleibol, yo practico tenis, yo practico natación. And that's I practice football, I practice basketball, I practice volleyball, I practice tennis, etc. Then another exercise that you can do is use yo juego and write yo juego fútbol, yo juego baloncesto, yo juego voleibol, and yo juego tennis. And then translate them to I play soccer, I play basketball, I play volleyball, I play tennis, and I play swimming. But we can use a better verb for swimming, but just practice with jugar and practicar. Okay, so those are very, very great sentences. So we're now putting some of the sentences together so that we can practice using all of these. So great job, guys. Fantastic. Okay, so we've done the repaso, the review, and you know how to answer the question now. ¿Cuáles deportes juegan tú y tu familia? Right up here. What sports do you and your family play? And now you can write some sports in each of those to play for the la familia. Okay, so we have a new story, and in Spanish we say story is historia, or a reading is a lectura. Lectura. Muy bien, so yo voy a leer, I'm going to read to you. You guys follow along. Remember, when we read something for the first time, just listen to the words that are coming out of my mouth. I'll go back and explain it to you. We'll read it again, and then we'll learn some vocabulary, as always, to try to make sure we can understand this better. So I'm going to disappear myself, and here we go. La clase de Mónica. ¿Cómo van a la escuela? ¿Cómo van para la escuela? Preguntó Mónica. Yo voy en auto, dijo Román. Yo voy en autobús, dijo Emanuel. Voy en tren, dijo María. ¿Y tú, Mónica? Preguntó Román. Yo voy andando, respondió Mónica. Okay, I'm going to read it one more time. You guys follow along and just listen to the words and try to see if you can identify them as I'm reading. ¿Cómo van a la escuela? ¿Cómo van para la escuela? Preguntó Mónica. Yo voy en auto, dijo Ramón. Yo voy en autobús, dijo Emanuel. Voy en tren, dijo María. ¿Y tú, Mónica? Preguntó Román. Yo voy andando, respondió Mónica. Okay, everybody, so we have some names here, and I actually want you to write the names down. Sometimes I actually have some students who don't know any names in Spanish, and it's a little bit tricky for them to then identify them later on. So I want you guys to be careful to practice with them so you can know them very well. So let's go. The first word that we've translated, name that we've translated to Spanish is Mónica. 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 Then we have Román. Roman, I think I said Ramon. Roman, Roman, Roman. Then we have Emmanuel, Emmanuel, Emmanuel. And then you have Maria, Maria. Then you have, lastly, you have Roman again, and then you have Monica again at the top, Monica. So they're all talking to each other and kind of circles back. So Monica, Roman, Emmanuel, Maria. Okay, so you guys see in those names, you see that we have accent marks. And so for you kids, I want you guys to just focus on saying the making it a little bit louder when you're saying it. So Roman or Monica or Maria. Maria, right? Get your word, your voice go ups and down. What that accent mark is telling us is that there's we in English we say there's a stress there, okay? And we're giving it to you. That's why you see it there. We're telling you where you should make it a little bit stronger. So Mónica, Román, Maria. Okay, so the verb that keeps popping up here is voy, voy, voy. That means I go. And it's interesting because the verb actually is different. I'm going to write it down for you. Okay, yo voy. Okay, so yo voy, yo voy. Okay, that means I go. So the question at the top is, ¿Cómo van a la escuela? Right here. Let's see if I can get it here. So, ¿Cómo means how. Do you go? Do you all go? Van a la escuela, to the school. So how do you go to school? ¿Cómo van para la escuela? Asked Monica. I go in car. Yo voy en auto. Auto, like automobile, auto. Dijo Román. Yo voy en autobús. That's an autobus or a bus. Dijo Emanuel. Yo voy en tren. I go by train, en tren. She says, and you, Monica? Yo voy andando. Andando means to walk. Okay, so yo voy means I go. And this comes from the verb ir, which means to go. So if you write ir means to go, that's another verb that you can actually add to your list of words and that you can practice later on. Okay, so I want you guys to write this down. En auto, en autobús, and en tren. By car, by bus, and by train. Yo voy. So if I ask you, ¿Cómo vas a la escuela? How do you go to school? Muy bien. If I went to school, I don't, but I would say, yo voy en auto. I go in my car. When I was a kid, I took the yellow bus. So I could say, yo voy en autobús. And some of you, because some of you live in bigger cities, you can say, yo voy andando. I go andando, walking. That's the last sentence there is yo voy andando. So now that you know yo voy means I go, you know en auto, en autobús, en tren, en andando. That means by car, by bus, by train, and walking. You now know the names in Spanish. You know the names in Spanish. So we have Mónica, Román, Emmanuel, and Maria. Those are Spanish names. In some of your Spanish classes, you might actually get to pick your name, right? And you can have a Spanish name. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to read this one more time, super slow, because now you know most of the words, so you should be able to follow along with me. And then afterwards, I want you to read it out loud on your own for those of you who can read. La clase de Mónica. ¿Cómo van a la escuela? ¿Cómo van para la escuela? Preguntó Mónica. Yo voy en auto, dijo Román. Yo voy en autobús, dijo Emanuel. Voy en tren, dijo María. ¿Y tú, Mónica? Preguntó Román. Yo voy andando, respondió Mónica. Okay, you knew all those words now? Any questions? Well, I can't answer questions because this is a video, but practice with that. La clase de Mónica. ¿Cómo van a la escuela? And then you try to read it 3 times out loud by yourself. Okay, and I think you guys can do that. So we're going to learn next week the different types of transportation, and then you guys can practice going in different ways, right? Than going in by car, by bus, and by train. You might go by boat or by airplane, right? There's different ways for you to go by. Okay, so real quick to wrap up, I'm going to read this one more time. Normally, this is how you should be reading it. And then we're going to actually do that cool down of repeating all the words you've seen so far on purpose as a cool down. And then that means you've been speaking a lot of Spanish. Okay, la clase de Mónica. ¿Cómo van a la escuela? ¿Cómo van para la escuela? Preguntó Mónica. Yo voy en autobús, dijo Román. Yo voy en autobús, dijo Emanuel. Voy en tren, dijo María. ¿Y tú, Mónica? Preguntó Román. Yo voy andando, respondió Mónica. That's how fast I want you guys to do it. Okay, fútbol. Let's use the word me gusta. And I'm going to make sentences with this that you're going to repeat using me gusta, I like, and no me gusta, you don't like. So repeat after me. Me gusta fútbol. Me gusta baloncesto. Me gusta voleibol. Me gusta tenis. Me gusta natación. Me gusta bicicleta. Me gusta navegar. And me gusta baile. Me gusta, me gusta, me gusta. I like all of those things. Okay? So, with the family, we're going to practice using yo tengo. This means I have. Repita, por favor. Yo tengo madre. Yo tengo padre. Yo tengo hermano. Yo tengo hermana. Yo tengo abuelo. Yo tengo abuela. Yo tengo tío. Yo tengo tía. And lastly, yo tengo primo. You have a cousin, an aunt. These are things you have. Yo tengo. Okay. Now we're going to practice. This is our cool down. Making full sentences. I am wearing or I wear. Yo llevo camisa. Yo llevo pantalón. Yo llevo vestido. Yo llevo falda. Yo llevo abrigo. Keep up, you got it. Yo llevo sombrero. Yo llevo bolsa. Yo llevo pantalón corto. And yo llevo zapatos or zapato. Okay. Muy bien. And then another one you can use is, food, me gusta, or I have, etc. So that's all your food. Okay, wow. You guys are doing fantastic. So that's a lot. So I do that from time to time on purpose because it's very important for you to never forget these. And speaking out loud and reading out loud are so important for you to work on your pronunciation and as a form of practice. So if you saw what we did there is I reviewed by repeating at the beginning of class all of the vocabulary words, or not all of them, but most of them that we've seen. And then at the end, I started putting them all together. Okay, with sentences. And those are real sentences that you can use. Hey, what do you play? Oh, I play football. Oh, do you have a brother and sister? Yes, I have a brother and a sister, or I have a cousin. You can talk about your family and what they like with me gusta or no me gusta as well, and talk about yourself. Okay, everybody, good job, and I'll see you next week.